As we see in the last episode, Richard sees Anthea is more useful than any other spy, and he will do whatever to make her his. After that, Richard goes and visits his father, and his father was very angry and threw in glass at him. He said Richard the Emperor Thenston sent gifts to Anthea and she also visited the imperial palace frequently. He also heard they are going together to the grand ball during the Festival of the Seal. The Festival of the Seal is the most important holiday in the entire empire. On this day the emperor sealed the door of darkness and returned safely to the kingdom. Emissaries from all over the world will gather in the imperial ballroom. If they witness the emperor and Princess Anthea together, it will naturally raise the crown prince's status. Richard's father sees that his plan is failing. Richard says there is another way if we bring the crown princess to their side. Richard tells him that Anthea loves his father and she does whatever his father orders her. Richard's father thinks this might be a good idea. In past, we see Count Valentia slap Anthea for calling him. Anthea called him because she feeling cold. But Count Valentia says she is a disgrace to his family. Anthea apologized to him and said she would never call him again. But his father says that the only way she helps Valentia's family is by just dropping dead. We can see Anthea's father is a very trashy person and evil too. And suddenly Anthea woke up, and Blake asked her if she was alright. Anthea realizes it is a dream, a nightmare where she saw some fragment of real Anthea's memory. Blake says because of his curse she had a bad dream. But Anthea hugged him and thanked him for staying by his side. In Count Valentia's family, Anthea's father heard the praises of Princess Anthea from the different people. He was crept about these facts and never heard this thing from Anthea. He thinks of using Anthea for his benefit. And suddenly a servant came and told her the Duke of Castle wanted to meet him. Then Count Valentia meets Duke and they greet each other. Duke says he heard a lot of praise of Princess Anthea. Count Valentia says Anthea is an obedient child and she even risks his life for him. Duke asked him if your younger daughter was as well-bred as her older sister. Count Valentia says Diana is better than her and she is his pride and joy. Duke proposed to him that he would love to have his younger sister as a daughter-in-law. Count Valentia is shocked by this proposal and if he wed Diana to the Castle family, she will become queen someday. For this, the Duke will check Diana's education and talents. Count Valentia agreed to him and tell to examine her immediately. Sometime later, Anthea was upset thinking of the nightmare of how poor Anthea suffered all of this. Maid Melissa comes and tells her that Count Valentia has come to see her. At first, Anthea was a bit nervous and told Maid Melissa to escort him to the drawing room. In the drawing room, Count Valentia is waiting for her. He thinks how can his daughter keep him waiting like this. After 1 hour, Anthea enters the drawing hall. And he started yelling at her, but he was stunned by his look. She looked gorgeous and she looked very confident. He cannot believe this child is Anthea. Anthea went straight to the point and asked him, "What brings you here?" Count Valentia has no respect for her and yells at her. She becomes so arrogant now and he will teach her a lesson. Maid Melissa tells him to show respect to the crown princess. Count Valentia angrily tells the Maid Melissa not to interrupt the father of the crown princess. Anthea says to address his staff with respect and if you do not have anything to tell just leave. Count Valentia gets very angry after listening to her and going to hit her. Anthea warns him say if he does such a thing he might end up like Marquis Hamel. Count Valentia was scared because Anthea now has completely changed and she became the most powerful woman in the empire. Count Valentia apologized for his loose composure and asked her why he was cold to him. Anthea tells him to leave immediately and not to come to the crown prince's palace ever again. If this kind of rudeness happens again he shall not be forgiven. The two servants come and throw out the trashy Count Valentia. Anthea knows the only reason he comes to visit is to frighten her and to control her like a puppet. He may also heard the emperor was favoring her, and Anthea never wants to visit him again. After that incident, his father continued to send her letters, but she doesn't even bother to read. The only important thing she had was to show her presence at the Festival of the Seal. That is why she practiced dance and she was unable to do that and fell on the ground. Everyone asked her if she was all right. Even the cat also worries about her. Anthea says she is fine and the dance teacher says she will continue tomorrow. When she saw the cat, she started playing with him and squeezed him tight. After that, Anthea gives him some food. And Blake also comes after his training. Blake glares at the cat and the cat also gets nervous. Blake never likes any male who attracts Anthea and he also acts like a cat. Anthea asked him to teach her how to dance and she would love to have her first dance with her husband. Blake agrees to help her. Now they both held hands of each other and were ready to do practice. They both start dancing and Anthea makes the same mistake again. Blake tells her she can do it better if she just relax. And they started dancing again. At night, Anthea thanked him for his help. Blake tells her his father is better at dancing than him. and everyone will be busy looking to see you so they won't notice your feet. Blake also wants to go to the festival, and Anthea tells him they will go together when he becomes of her age. On the other day, Anthea brings food for Emperor Thenston. When he tastes it, he likes the food, and they both enjoy the dinner. Emperor Thenston says he will build a glass arboretum for her in the garden at Amelia Castle. For that, he will fill the lake with soil, the lake in which Anthea drowned. Anthea tells him there is no need for that. She just accidentally fell into the river, but Emperor Thenston is serious about that. After that, Anthea tells everything to the Blake and asks his opinion. Blake also wants to rid of the lake as soon as possible, and they decided to grow different vegetables there. Anthea asked if there were any flowers you wanted to grow. Blake says he wants to grow a red rose plant. The red rose means love. It is often given when someone proposes marriage. Anthea thinking about whether to take a red rose from Blake. After that, finally, the day of the ball came. Anthea was getting ready earlier, and she thanked all of the servants for helping her. Emperor Thenston tells her she looks so beautiful. Anthea also says he looks very handsome. They both entered the hall where everyone blew their heads. Anthea noticed Richard had also come and gave a smile at her. Emperor Thenston asked Anthea if there was any problem. Anthea tells His Majesty in his ear that you are looking the most handsome out of everyone. Emperor Thenston smiled after listening to this. Everyone started chatting about how Emperor Thenston was smiling, but they all fell silent once his expression changed. The emperor was rarely seen smiling, which made it an unusual event. The ceremony began with one person bringing a golden glass. The emperor then held this glass and gave his speech. Anthea thinks Emperor Thenston will ask for his hand in the dance, but she wants his first dance with Blake. Emperor Thenston said he was unwilling to dance today and told everybody to enjoy the party. Emperor Thenston tells Anthea that he knows he wants his first dance with Prince Blake, and that Emperor Thenston will wait for her for his second dance to dance with her. After that, Anthea meets several royal families. She had to remember all the names of the royal family, which was a very difficult task for her, and she managed it very well. If she will study hard in her real life, she would have gone to the best school. While meeting with several people, Anthea sees his father. He was very upset with her and got away from her. Here is the first time she meets his little sister Dana. Now the trashy Richard has come and asked Anthea to his first dance, but Anthea refused his request and tell him his first dance will be the only one who is greater or level of the Emperor Thenston. That hurt the ego of trashy Richard, and everybody around them is laughing at Richard. Richard was humiliated by this and went back. After some time, Anthea goes to the terrace for fresh air and misses his bunny husband, and suddenly she heard a voice asking her permission to enter the terrace. When she entered, it was Diana, who looked like a beautiful angel. In the novel, whenever Diana and Anthea used to play, Count Valentia used to separate them and not allow them to stay together. Diana was overwhelmed with guilt, thinking that Anthea died because of her. To atonement herself, she left the house and became a servant in Blake's household. But now she became Anthea. The story had changed now, but the real Anthea was already gone. And Diana also is not in guilt. Diana told her his entrance was very amazing, and she also heard about her falling into the lake. Then Diana looks here and there and gives Anthea a fire mana stone. Anthea thanked her and she was joyful with tears. Anthea never imagines that she is more beautiful than in the book. In the evening, Anthea reached home and Blake hugged her. It is just like a daily routine for them to hug each other. Blake asked her if she enjoyed the ceremony. Anthea tells him everything is so fun and she does not dance with the Emperor Thenston. Blake asked her the reason for not dancing. She tells him she wants his first dance with him, and Emperor Thenston also knows this. She also tells him she has met the person who will free Blake from his curse. She asked him to promise her when he is free from his curse he will dance with her. But Blake was scared if she tried to leave him. He was crying and hugged her, saying not to leave him. And here she tells him a lie to comfort him, and he falls back to sleep. Anthea making a planning to leave him. To break the curse, Blake needs to follow the original story and fall in love with Diana. But first, Anthea will get rid of trashy Richard because he will try to snatch Dana for Blake. And she decided to meet Blake with Diana. After some time, Anthea and Blake were ready to meet Diana. Blake tells her that he is nervous about his sister-in-law. There is a plot twist. Blake is meeting Diana earlier than in the original story. When the carriage arrives, Diana rushes toward Anthea and hugs her. Diana told her she was very excited to meet her. Even she could not sleep properly. Anthea pats her and tells her to meet the crown prince. Diana blew down his head and said it was his honor to meet him, and also thanks him for inviting her. Here Anthea lies to them, saying she has a meeting with His Majesty and asks Blake to show the castle to Diana. and she runs away from them thinking that they will fall in love with each other. Anthea goes to the library and reads books. Anthea hopes they will fall in love according to the original story. In the future, will Blake falls in love with Diana? She thinks about how Blake's reaction will be when he comes after her asking for a divorce. She is a 10-year-old girl, but her imagination level is on the next level. But in her mind, she wondered if she had the power of the light, she will be the one who saves Blake. When she returned, she heard the noise thinking they are fighting and rushed towards the rooms. Anthea asked them the reason for fighting. They both say the same thing and Anthea tells them to calm down, but their reaction seems to be different. They are both argued because they both like Anthea, and here Anthea wants them to get close to each other. But she was happy seeing them close and fight for one thing. 2 years later, Anthea was cooking and Blake came from behind and hugged her. It has been 2 years and they still following their daily routine. After that, they all went to the outside the palace, and Blake and Diana still argued about Anthea. Anthea was happy seeing them and their childish reaction. Diana tells him he is a husband of Anthea, but he never kissed her. Make Blake blush and his face turns red. And Diana is the winner of the argument. It is a perfect explanation of the men cannot win in arguments with a woman. Anthea tells them it is now time for training. Diana tells Blake, let's race and see who will reach the armory first, and she starts running without any warning to him. Maid Melissa was happy after seeing Prince Blake finally have a good friend. When Anthea hears this, she thinks in her mind that Diana will only become Blake's friend and not more than that, which makes her relieved. From his bottom of his heart, she wants to stay with Blake. She had now everything: his bunny husband, most caring and lovable father, and a cute little sister Diana, and every person important to her, and she decided to stay with Blake. Anthea tells Maid Melissa to let go together in the Imperial Palace to His Majesty. In the Imperial Palace, Anthea tells everything to His Majesty and Blake, how they can break the curse. Emperor Thinston cannot believe Anthea's words. In a room, Blake and Anthea are arguing about her suggestion. Blake tells her that he just wants to stay with her side. Anthea realizes that Blake just wants them to stay with her, and he does not think about his curse. After that, 2 more years have passed now and there are so many changes happening in the Crown Prince Palace. The Arboretum was built on the top of the filled-in lake. Some new servants are joined which they can trust. And here your main lead looked at the realms as the most powerful female of the empire. Emperor Thinston gave her the Cephia Palace and also gave the office room on the 3rd floor of the Imperial Palace. Anthea is going to the office room. But it is not an ordinary office. The office has a secret room in which it was filled with ancient books and text. It also has books on light magic and the cursed. It is a palace where Anthea does secret research to break Blake's curse. 1,000 years ago there was a nation called Jelkan, but it was brought down by Philips and the Empire of Asterik was founded. Since then, ancient language used in Jelkan has disappeared and remains a mystery to scholars even to this day. In the novel, Richard uses this fact to fool the emperor. He spread the rumor that there's ancient black magic that can move curses from one person to another. Emperor Thinston falls for his tricks and offers himself to save Blake. The result ends with his death, and Anthea does whatever to stop him. To stop this from happening, she needs a secret weapon just in case. Anthea was scared when she heard someone come into the room, but she is relieved and smiles after seeing her father, Emperor Thinston. Anthea was normally greeted by praising His Majesty each time they met. Emperor Thinston tells her to take a break, because she never takes a rest and always researches in how to break the Blake curse. Anthea tells him it is never a chore when it's something you love. Emperor Thinston pats her and says he is saying it for Anthea's own good. In the training hall, Blake and Diana do sword fighting. They both are doing their best at win. They both get tired after a long time of training, where Diana asked him why he was going easy on her, which Blake tells her because she is Anthea's little sister, where Blake also asked her the same question, and Diana says because he is Anthea's husband. They both go easy on them because of Anthea. Blake asked her why she wanted to become the knight. Diana tells him the reason because she wants to become strong to protect his sister. Blake asked her to take care of Anthea if he died. Diana gets angry with this and tells him she will be devastated by this. But Blake is worried about his curse, and Diana tells him the curse will be broken someday. Diana tells him to take an oath of knight honor to protect Princess Anthea. Then Blake vowed to protect Anthea and Diana was happy to hear this. After some time, Blake was sleeping after his training and Anthea looked at him and tousled his head. Blake was happy to see her. He tells her that he always had a good dream when she was with him. When Anthea was not there with Blake, he always had a bad dream and nightmare. But now she is with him, he never had a nightmare again. Anthea thinks Blake gets tried for his training. and she pats him like a baby. Blake tells her he is not a baby. Anthea tells him she always looks at him like a baby. Blake was shocked after hearing this and devastated too. Anthea never leaves a chance to tease him. She became like a thug now. The other day, Blake was a little upset after seeing his height. Even Diana becomes taller than him. Anthea come tell him at lunchtime. Blake disappointingly says his height is not growing. Anthea tells him his height is growing and he just needs to eat. And they both go to lunch. In the novel, Richard was about 6 feet tall and Blake was a bit shorter than him. In Count Valentia's house, Diana was doing practice with his wooden sword. While she was training, his father suddenly entered the room and asked him what she was doing. Diana hid his sword behind his back and said she was doing nothing. Count Valentia found something suspicious and grabbed her hand and the sword fell. Count Valentia tells her that high society is laughing at him because of what Anthea said. He wants Diana to marry into the Carcel family so she can become a princess and become a successful lady. He asked her to tell him everything that happened at the Crown Prince's palace and to hide an animated crystal there the next time she went. Diana was very scared of his father. On the next day, in the Crown Prince's palace, Anthea and Blake are having dinner. Blake was confused after seeing a sprouting dish and asked Anthea. She tells him it is a bean sprout soup that will help you to grow your height. At first, he was hesitant to eat, but to improve his height, he started eating and whole reaction changed because it was so delicious. Diana was secretly listening to all this and going back to the Count Valentia. His father asked her why she brought the animated crystal here. Diana told him it was broken. Count Valentia asked her how far has the Crown Prince curse progressed. Diana says she does not know either. Count Valentia shouted at her saying she couldn't even do anything right. Diana gets scared after listening to this. Count Valentia gets very angry and throws out Diana's wooden sword. Diana stops him and says that this sword is given by Anthea. It is special to her. With some little courage, Diana tells him she wants to become a knight and wants to enter the academy next year. And she also doesn't want to do his outlandish thing anymore. Count Valentia slaps Diana. After that, Diana was in the carriage going to the Crown Prince's palace. Diana was very sad and carrying the animated crystal, thinking of the yesterday night, how his father beat her and gave her a last chance, or she would marry straight off to Count Cornwell. Diana does not want to do this, and she wants to tell everything to Anthea, but she has no courage to tell her, and does not want to involve Anthea thinking it is all her fault. And here our video ends. To watch the next part, select the video on the left side. Let's see what will happen. Will Diana betray Anthea and follow his evil trashy father or not? Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.